What's going on, my friends? Leo Cannell here with your episode of the Seven Figures Club podcast today, and the podcast that helps entrepreneurs and small business owners, side hustlers around the world, join the 5%. There's just 5% of business owners that break 7 figures a year in income. And we've got one of them here today with an amazing story of how to start a business in the middle of a recession. We've got Darian Khosravi. Did I get it?
KOSMO,
yeah. AKA, he's also known as KOSMO. He is the president and CEO of KOSMOs Q Inc., one of the fastest growing barbecue brands in the world. So, it is summer here in the US, and as you're getting your barbecues going, we're going to find out where you can get the best barbecue sauce to make that happen. KOSMO Q Products helps everyone from backyard cooks to experienced hit masters create flavor-packed, award-winning barbecue every time. This is an important skill, I think. Everybody, the guy that can make the good barbecue is a friend to all. KOSMO started the company from his linen closet of his home, love that, in 2009, and he's remained heavily involved in product creation, research and development, daily operations, logistics, and growth. In 2021, KOSMO Q was recognized by Inc. magazine on its 500 fastest growing private businesses in the US. And he also claims the #1 spot for companies in the great state of Oklahoma, and the number 21 spot in the food and beverage category, and number 431 overall. KOSMO, welcome to the show.
There are over 32 million businesses in the US, and over 90% of them will never break 7 figures in annual sales. So how do we as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs break into that 7 figures club? This podcast will relentlessly share the secrets, strategies, and tactics I've used to create 3 multi-7 figures businesses and bring in even more successful entrepreneurs than me to share their inspirational stories and tactics to success. You can create your dream business and life right now. So buckle up and let's go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So the first question I always like to ask our guests, KOSMO, is what is your background like? And maybe what were some of the events in your childhood or early on in life that maybe led you down a path of entrepreneurship, or made you at least realize, hey, there's more opportunity as an entrepreneur versus working for someone?
Well, I wish I had this amazing grand story. Actually, my past was it was pretty hard, pretty difficult. At the age of 17 months old, I was burned. Burned at the time, it was about 70% of my body.
Oh my goodness.
I was just a little baby, so I spent the majority of my childhood growing up in the Shriners Burn Institute in Galveston, Texas.
Wow.
So I wish I could tell you I was good at school. I absolutely sucked at school. I hated it. They hated me. Obviously, I could read, write, and do arithmetic and stuff like that. I just thought that it just seemed to me, excuse me, that school was more of what could you remember and regurgitate at a specific time when they needed you to. And I didn't find use in that. So I actually dropped out of school in, I think, the 11th or 12th grade. I think I started my 12th year, but it didn't last very long. Ended up as a factory worker, this, that, and the other. And the one thing that I've always known about myself, I would see the way somebody's doing something and I would go, well, not everything, but a lot of things I go, why do they do it that way? That is such a waste of time. And, or that's not the best, or, why, so as I became a young father, I remember it was just, the running around, all that was going to stop. So I was like, well, I got to figure out, I got to do something that dads do. And they,
take care of this family. And
yeah. So I thought, okay, well, I'll try my hand at barbecue, and went and got me a smoker at Walmart and brought it home and started smoking some meats. And about dinner time, geez, we put the food out, and it was absolutely garbage. It was
Uh-oh.
trash. It was so bad. I'll never forget. My wife was holding the trash can open as I was throwing it away in the cart outside, and man, something hit me, and I said, that will never happen again. That will never in my life happen again. And this is before the internet was around, but there was, maybe a little bit of Facebook, but not really. YouTube wasn't even invented yet. And I thought, I got to figure this out. So, and anybody that knows me knows I'm relentless. Like, I will not quit. There is no quit in me. There is no stop. I will go under, over, around, through. It just does. When I get hyper focused on something, I will become the best I can at it. I will learn everything about it. And that's what I did with barbecue. And then I looked up one day and I was like, man, I was watching something on TV and they were showing these competitions. And I was like, I can do that. Never competed in my life. Went and signed up, ended up winning first place ribs. And I was hooked. And then as I started competing, I was like, man, that stuff you buy at the grocery store, it's not that good.
No.
Like, people think it is, because that's as far as you've ever ascended up the ladder. And I was like, I can make this better. I know I can make this better. So then I started making my own rubs and using them in competition. And people would ask me, hey, man, can I borrow some of that? Can I have some of that? And still never had a business in mind. At this point, I was just selling the rubs just for beer money and maybe some competition money just to go out and compete again. Cause I'm a extreme extrovert, as a lot of people like to say. So I like to be out around people. And so that's what I started doing. And I never had thoughts of starting the business until one day I was at a competition. And at the time there was 2 injection companies that used injection for brisket. And I remember going up to one of them and I was like, hey, I'm using your product. It doesn't really taste right. Is there something, can you help me out? Tell me what I'm doing wrong. If you can give me some advice. And I remember he was standing inside his trailer at the time with the door open. He said, yeah, you can read the directions, and shut the door in my face. And like, I was just demoralized as a human to think that this is how people treat their customers that give them money. And I was like, okay, well, I'm already making my own rub. I might as well make my own injection too. And sure enough, that's where it all started. And I found a company that would make me an injection, and they said, well, what's the name of your business? And I didn't have no business. And I panicked under pressure, and I said, well, it's KOSMOs Q. So they wrote down KOSMOs Q, and we sallied on. And that's how I started the company. And I made it my personal mission to convert everybody on the competition circuit to my new injection at the time. And that's how the company was created. We incorporated in 2009. And we've been going hard at it ever since.
This is a great story, you guys. So entrepreneurship at its most basic level is identifying a problem and making it your mission to create a solution for it. So in KOSMO's story here, KOSMO, right? You're like, hey, great dads are really good at barbecuing and they can make great barbecues. You do your first barbecue, you got the smoker, it's a complete failure. And you're like, okay, that's never going to happen again. You take this problem, I'm going to make it my mission to become a great barbecuer, provide a great meal for my family. And then all of a sudden, you're into competitions and it's still not even a business idea. It's just, hey, it's a problem that you've solved. And then, and I love this, and then, you go to interact with the competition, and guess what you find out? Just someone that you're already you're buying their barbecue sauce, and then you find out, wow, they don't even care about their customer. This is how they treat them. And now you've got kind of an enemy who deserves to be taken down, who's not adding value to their customer. And I find that those are two really successful recipes in entrepreneurs who succeed. Number one, they find a problem that they're passionate about and they find a solution for it. They make it their mission to do it. And then number two, they find someone in the market who seems to be doing well, but they're doing a horrible job and you can do better. And that's a great recipe for success. Now, one of the interesting things here, I'm reading here on your website, is you started KOSMO Q back in 2009 from the linen closet of your house with $500 from your last good credit card. And some of you all don't remember '09 very well, but I remember it. It was right smack dab in the middle of one of the biggest recessions we'd ever seen. And as we're about to go into another recession, how did you have, the confidence to start something right in the middle of what seemed to be the worst of times?
Well, for me, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that what I had was better than what was out there. And I knew that I would care more about my customers than what currently was out there on the market. What I didn't know is how hard it is to sell on the internet before e-commerce was a thing. But I didn't care. I didn't care. Like, you could have told me the dollar was crashing tomorrow, I still would have done it because I believed in it and I believed in myself so much that there was no stopping me. And people go, well, I wish I could say, I had a business plan and I thought it out. But it was more of a calling in my soul, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does.
Like it was not a question of whether or not I was going to start this or when I was going to start this. Everything came together in 2009, and I blindly turned. Everything was out the door. I was going forward, and I took $500 on a credit card, and that's when they called me. What's the name of your business? KOSMOs Q. And I put that $500 on that credit card, and I remember walking out into the garage, and I was like, my wife is going to kill me. She's going to kill me, but I have one shot to put her at ease, and I need to pay this $500 off as fast as possible. Even like, it didn't matter. If I made $502, I just needed to, pay it off. And I remember asking me, she goes, "Do you believe in it?" And I said, "Yes, it is a superior product than what is on the market." And she goes, "Okay, I'll help you." And we would.
I love it.
As my one of my daughters, who was in the second grade at the time, told her classroom, my dad sits in the garage and packages up powder and ships it to his friends. So my wife, we would sit in the garage and we would package it up.
Yeah,
and like, we was breaking every health code violation. Obviously, this is 10 years ago. We knew nothing. We had to figure stuff out. But we shipped it out, and we got our money back. And then she was like, "Hey, we need a place for this." And I was like, "Okay, where?" She's like, "Let's put it in the linen closet." And I was like, so we cleared everything out. And there was 3 drawers, and then the cabinets that open. And we put at the time, it was just 2 products. It was our beef injection and pork injection. And then I was like, I'm making these other rubs. I should just have this co-packer make them. So it went from 2 products to 4 products. Then I added a barbecue sauce. So now I had 5 products. And then all of a sudden, when I added the barbecue sauce, I was like, this, and it was probably about a year and a half in the linen closet. I was like, we're outgrowing this linen closet. So I had a little, one of those little buildings that they just trailer over to your place and put it in your backyard.
Oh yeah.
And we put it in there, and boy, I just thought I was high on the hog. I remember I got my first pallet of product. It was only 1 layer, but I was like, we're doing it. And that's what we did. And that's the concept that I've created since day one is I'm not going to sacrifice what I have for something more without proof of concept first. Meaning I was not going to take any money from anybody. I was not going to take a loan. I wasn't going to have a business partner. I wasn't going to have any of that. If this business can't finance and fund itself, then it doesn't need to be alive.
So powerful, guys. Let's unpack some of the magic here. The KOSMO is just a lot of value bombs. The first thing I want to highlight for you, my late grandpa used to always say, hey, there is always room at the top. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, oh, there's already so much competition in that space, or, people have already figured out barbecue sauce, so that's not a good opportunity. And that's where people are wrong, because there's room at the top for something better. And when you know that you've created or can create a better product, and then you get proof of concept, you're winning competitions. People are saying, wow, this is great. Can you, get rubs from me? Can you build a barbecue sauce? Can you get me your barbecue sauce? I mean, that's the magic. And I love what you said too, proof of concept. You ever watch Shark Tank, guys? That's what they always say. Hey, I'm glad you have a great idea, but do you have any sales? Do you have proof that people like your product? And that's super smart. Before you go out and you risk everything and take out massive debt and go raise other people's money, don't do that until you have proof of concept. So very, very important. Now, my next question, KOSMO, is how important was it to have because it sounds like you were in these competitions and you knew you had a great product, and hey, the people, these competitions, my buddies that I'm hanging out with, they're going to buy this. How important was it to have some early distributors, customers, and that you knew that you could connect? And that, because that's the other thing, you might have a great product, but if you don't have a way to get out and get that proof of concept really early, you may go nowhere. Yeah.
So I took if you remember any of the old New Jack City or any of those movies, I took I hate to say it, but I took a play right out of a drug dealer's playbook.
Hey, those guys are good business guys.
They're great. Yeah, they are great. Like, they know how to make money and they know how to sell. So
yes, they do.
So I packaged up. I even got the little baggies and everything. I packaged up enough injection for 1 brisket and enough injection for 1 pork butt, and I would walk around the competition and pass it out. And I just give them away for free. Just, hey man, don't listen to me. Try it. Use it. Don't use it. I don't care. And I remember the very first competition I went to, I did this, and people started getting upset with me because how dare I start a new company? Like, who am I to do that? And I was like, I don't care. I don't care if you talk to me. And I heard rumors that one guy, after I walked off, actually opened up the packages and dumped them on the ground. And I was like, good. Because the next time that I have an interaction with him, he will pay full price. Because I used to show up later on and I would sell to people, if you wanted a discount, and I was like, nope. So when he came up, he paid full price next time. And just to show people that it worked, I remember I was like, how can I get people's attention at a competition? Because getting your name called is not enough. you walk up there and it's gone. So hashtags just started. And so I kind of snatched a hold of hashtag it just wins. And I put it across the back of my shirt, big letters, it just wins. And I would stand in the very back of the competition. And when they would call my name, I would just walk up slowly. And all you could see was it just wins on my back. And then when I turned around, you could see KOSMOs Q on the front. So that's how I, just slowly started, well, if he's getting called, then I want to do what he's doing. So that's how we.
So then that leads to more of them, buying a product. They tell more people. And that's what one of my mentors says is when you build a great product, we'll call it a productocracy, a product that's so good that you don't need lots of crazy, fancy, expensive marketing to sell it because it's a great product. And when you have a great product, people will tell other people. And that's still the fastest way to grow a business is to have, word of mouth referrals because you've got a great product. Now, I'm curious if you could go back into time, Cosmo, and talk to yourself, but, as you're launching in the linen closet and you're getting this thing, what are 3 things that you would tell yourself to be like, hey, be aware of this, think about this, but what are 3 things that 3 pieces of advice you might give yourself?
Oh, golly.
Or even just 1 or 2 things, like what are some of because a lot of the times when people start, and we've got a lot of the audience that are in that process, they're in the linen closet and there's so much they don't know and they've got so much fear and anxiety. But if they could just focus on, 1 or 2 things that's going to make the difference, what are some of those things early on that do move the needle?
I would say a couple things. 1, always trust your gut. I have really struggled with that because I thought, well, my gut tells me this, but I don't have any, there is no place where you can go to get educated to become a phenomenal CEO or even a good CEO. The other thing I would say is listen to everyone, but only pick up the things that you need on your journey at that moment. Because the one thing I realized is that's a great story. I was actually going to find a mentor, somebody that had been here. And I remember, they asked me the questions and they was like, okay, man, this sounds like a great deal. We're going to approve you to be mentored. And I said, I got 1 question. And they said, what's that? And I said, how much money do you have in your bank account? And they were like, well, I don't think that has anything to do with anything. And I said, call me crazy. If I'm wanting to become financially independent, financially wealthy, this, that, and the other, I want $5 million in the bank. And I should be taking advice from somebody that has at least $5 million in the bank and is not broke. And that right there, they wouldn't answer the question. So that killed it. And that's what got me to thinking, careful who you take advice from, because realistically, it's mostly just opinions. And if they haven't done it, then chances are you probably shouldn't be taking that much advice from them when it comes to business.
I love it. There's so many friends and family and acquaintances and so-called business coaches. But if they haven't already done what you want to do, if they haven't actually, walked the walk, not just talk the talk, then you shouldn't be taking advice. And that's a huge piece of advice, because otherwise you're swayed to and fro. Oh, this guy says I should do this, and my uncle says I should do this. And then if you look at them, you're like, wait, are they successful business owners? Have they made a big impact? Do they have a product or service that's really gotten out there? Or how successful are they? And so important, take everything else with a grain of salt, but from people who have actually done what you want to do, ask them for directions and the roadmap. But for the rest, you just cannot listen to them. That's huge, guys, huge. Well, Cosmo, you've dropped a number of value bombs in this podcast, and we really appreciate you being being a guest. How can the audience, connect with Cosmos Q and bring value? And I'm sure a lot of them thinking right now, or they're running on the treadmill, they're going to work, they're at lunch, and they're like, wow, I'd like to have some of the, try some of these barbecue and rubs. And how can they connect up with Cosmos Q?
Well, you can find us on the internet at KOSMOSQ.com. That's KOSMOS, the letter Q.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. We have a lot of instructional barbecue videos on YouTube, and you can go search us over there. And yeah.
Wow. You know what's awesome, guys? I'm on the website here at KOSMOSQ.com. That's KOSMOSQ.com. And if you click on find a store, chances are you can probably find a store that's very, very close to you. And boy, there's a lot of stores across the US and even in Canada that are carrying Cosmos. So a huge opportunity, guys, to be able to get access to this. But more importantly for everybody, what a great story of entrepreneurship, of the fact that you don't need, an MBA to be an entrepreneur. In fact, most successful entrepreneurs dropped out of college because in college, they teach you how to get a job. They don't teach you how to start a business. But if you can find a mentor, and these days you don't actually need a mentor in person. There's so many great successful entrepreneurs. You can learn from their books. You can learn from YouTube channels, from podcasts like this one. You don't have to actually go out there and talk. Now, if you can, that's great. And we certainly recommend that. But mentorship is more available now through all of these, social media opportunities to connect and through people's books. So again, KOSMOSQ.com. They've got stuff for brisket, burgers, poultry, pork, steak, sandwiches, and my personal favorite, ribs. They've got barbecue injections, wing dust. Guys, who doesn't love some great wings, rib glaze? So my wife are going to be jumping on here and making an order today at KOSMOQ.com. But remember, the key to a great product is word of mouth. So spread the good news as you try the product out, and then think about it in your own life. Like, how can you create a product or service that's so good that people just spread it with word of mouth? That's the quickest way to grow a business. Well, Cosmo, really appreciate you coming on, but I do want to give you the last word. What's one thing today that someone can do that's trying to build an empire like this that can make a difference and actually move their business forward?
Always keep the customer first.
Amen. It's not about you. It's not about all the other stuff. It's how do you provide more value to your customer than the competition? And you guys would be surprised. What did Cosmo just share? He goes to one of the top competitors out there and they don't even seem to care about their customer. And that comes from the top. Like, bad leadership that doesn't, teach their team, their employees to care about the customer, that starts from the top and goes down. So it starts with you. Always put your customer first. Cosmo, thank you so much for being a guest on the podcast.
You bet, Leo. Thank you, sir.
Are you looking for more seven-figure secrets, content, or even how you can launch your own recession-proof business? Then check out sevenfigures.com. That's the digit 7, FIGURES.com, where we share more videos, stories, strategies, funding solutions, entrepreneurial education, and even the secret business type that's recession-proof. Thank you for listening, and if you're finding value in our podcast, please give us a 5-star and invite others to join the club.